morning and welcome to the FITT Show. I am Bobby P. Kinzer and I'm so glad that you are here today. Welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. And there is my good friend Thomas Doty.
What's happening, my brother?
How are you today?
I am happy to be alive.
I'm glad you are alive so that we can do this show together, my brother. Just want to let everybody know this is our 202nd show. Last week was Wealth Principles to Live By. We hope that was useful for everybody. This week's show is Turn Your Time and Talents into Income. Very, very interesting show. But as we always start off, I like to, first address the administrative things. Just want to let you know we are not qualified investors. We don't have any fiduciary responsibility, so we're not going to try to guide you and tell you to do this and do that because we are advisors and we do not make any money on this show. We're just trying to provide information that you can use to help manage your personal finances and hopefully pass it on to your kids. Also, we'd like for you to click on the like button because that's how it works here on Facebook Live. And on YouTube, we like for you to subscribe. And on Facebook, please share with your family and friends and coworkers and anybody who wants to learn more about investing, budgeting, credit, and all kinds of subjects. Anything dealing with personal money management, we try to address those issues each week. And we're here each week. Now, one of the main places we like for you to do is place comments in the comment box, because that's where we get more, reach more people by putting things in the comment box. That's how it works on both YouTube and on Facebook. It's great algorithms, and we got a lot of people out there. We around the country, we hitting a lot of people, and we even overseas in the United Kingdom. And a couple of times, my friends down under joined us in Australia. So, and also use the comment box if you have some ideas or topics or anything that you want to know about dealing with money management. Please put it in the comment box, and that definitely will help. Uh, as I say, we're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is it Eastern Time? Yeah, we're on Eastern Standard Time and not Daylight Standard Time. And so make sure you tell people about it. Today is June the 26th. And we just like to get right to it, though. We always start the top of the show giving you a stock market update. And the person that does it so eloquently is Mr. Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Kinzer.
Just hope it works today.
Yeah, it's kind of. Oh, is it working?
Those are technologies we always are wondering. There you go.
Fantastic. And you can see the market's been doing really, really well. It's there's a lot of headwinds, a lot of things going on that aren't good, but the market seems to be ignoring those. You know, you got what's going on in the Middle East. I think tariffs are supposed to start in a couple of weeks, and interest rates are still high, but the market just keeps on trudging along. You can see the S&P jumped 160 points, almost 3%. NASDAQ did jump 3%, and the stocks that I have, all did really well this week. Microsoft jumped 497. This is all, it's been rolling like crazy. A lot of it's because of just the overall AI play. And it's also some thinking that if the Middle East settles down, that's a big opportunity for the big tech companies. Apple, which has been struggling, actually 4% this week. NVIDIA had another good week. Several analysts are upping their price targets. It jumped 10 points. It's up to 155. It's close to an all-time high. Google stayed flat. Again, we talked about the regulatory problems they're having. Pfizer stayed flat, and that one doesn't bother me because I'm making a 7% dividend on that. And Palantir continues to roll. It's up to 144. Bob and I were talking, and we thought we'd look back on what's been happening since we started this show, and we looked back at what the market was doing back in April of 2021, and since that time, the S&P is up 47%, the Nasdaq's up 43%, but Microsoft's is up 90% in that time. Apple and Google are both up 50%. Palantir, and I just bought Palantir in December of 2024. It's up 100% already. It's more than doubled. And Nvidia, which I bought in August of 2022, it's up 797%. So I am really, really happy with those. My
What is that dope you said?
797%.
What, the video?
Yeah, I bought it at 17. It's up to 155. It's
When did you buy it?
I bought it in August of 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a hell of a return.
Yeah, so it's up like over 12 times since I bought it, which is absolutely fantastic. If we look year to date, you can see S&P's up 5%, Nasdaq's 4%, Microsoft's up 18%. It's been on a run lately. Apple's down 20%, Nvidia's up 16%, Google's down 8%, Pfizer's down 11%, and Palantir is up 89% just this year. We're about halfway through the year. So market's going well. I am very, very nervous about all the stuff that's going on, the possible legislative changes that are going to happen. Don't make me happy because it just increases the deficit, which could have a negative effect on yields and our credit rating, and that could push interest rates up. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the Middle East. Tariffs don't work, but they look like they're going to be implemented in a couple of weeks. So I'm happy with where things are, but I'm really, really nervous about where things go in the future. But that's where we are right now.
Yeah, so many things, so many uncertainties, but that's why it's so important that you make sure you diversify your portfolio and your assets, because no one can predict the market, and the way things are going these days is so crazy. But the best thing you can do is be controlled. You can't control those things you have no control over, but what you can control is the things that you do, and that's your particular funds and your money. And as we always say, always seek advice and read as many books as you can. Financial literacy is so important, y'all, because that's the key to personal decisions. Personal finance is about all financial literacy. The more you know, the more your money can grow. Also, we talk about having alternative investments as far as gold, and gold is actually down by $15. But as a whole, gold is at $3,332 an ounce. I bought gold in 2000, I think 17, and it was I think it was about at 1,300 when I actually got in. So that's then it doubled my money. And stocks that I sort of got into was the competitor to Nvidia, which is called NXP. It's a Dutch semiconductor, which is in almost all the cars and computers you see in Lexus, Benz's, BMWs, is NXP, and what do you call hearing aids and stuff like that. That's NXP, and some phones NXP is in, and it is up over 100%. So I've been making out on that. I think it's up to $214 a share, and I think I got in at $90 a share about way back in 2017. So we don't profess to be stockbrokers or anything. We just try to share our information with you. We're not saying you need to get, in the stocks that we have. We just use them as a benchmark that you can see. But in 2021, as you can see, what Dope was talking about his stocks, my stocks, if you just looked at some of the basic things we talked about, you could be definitely, you would have earned some money. Like I said, we're not trying to say we some experts or anything. We're just trying to tell you being in the market and expanding and growing what you have. It's not what you, it's not how much you have, it's what you do with what you have. So let's get into talking about the cryptocurrency. We like to always follow that market because that's an interesting market. It's supposed to always be countering the dollar. The dollar was doing very well, but the dollar has been losing value lately. And that was one of the reasons why cryptocurrency as a whole was created, to be an alternative currency, which they call peer-to-peer um, operations, where cut out the middleman, like the uh, the credit card people, and go directly to retailers and purchasers. So now the cryptocurrency market cap is over $3 trillion. It is up. This is a little bit of 1%, but the number one cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. I'm sure everybody heard about that, and it's up to $107,000, $135,000. And if some of y'all know, we saw it go all the way down to 16 since we've been on this show, thousand per Bitcoin. And look at it now. It's only up 3% over week. It's up $2,891. Now all the other cryptocurrencies are down except Tether, which is they call a stable coin and it's supposed to be tagged to the dollar. But that's somewhat questionable if they say it's a dollar or some of assets. But as we always say, cryptocurrency is very speculative, but it is still an alternative investment if you have a diversified portfolio and you have everything else intact and in balance. It's worth considering if you have money to lose, should you be not gambling, should you be taking risks in cryptocurrency. So with that, Dope, let's get into our topic today, which is turn your time and talents into income.
Yeah, and earning extra money that can always help and help you either save for things, get over the hump, pay down some debt, reach some goals, put money away for a rainy day or whatever. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can take passive income. You can take things that you do that might be fun to you, that you have skill in, that somebody else might be willing to pay for. You just got to be cognizant of all the things that help keep you on track. You don't want to get to the point where you're doing all this and you're going crazy. But if you're saving for something big, it's always a good way to make some extra money. I think I told you guys back in the day, I used to teach part-time to make extra money. I taught at a couple schools in Wisconsin, a couple colleges in Wisconsin. I did a little bit of tax work to make some extra money, all just to try to get ahead. And I've always been an investor. And that's the best, easiest way to do it. I think Bob mentioned this last week. There's nothing like going to sleep and waking up and you got more money when you woke up than you had when you went to sleep. That's kind of a good feeling. That's called that passive income. But today we're going to talk about some ways to make money and just to expand your different income streams.
No, before we go any further, you mentioned passive income. Can you please explain the difference between passive income and active income?
Passive means just what it says. You make money by doing nothing.
Sleeping.
Your money
Why you
is
sleeping?
invested, even if it's a dividend or if it's interest. You aren't really doing anything to make that money. You have money invested in something and it makes money for you with no effort by you other than having bought that particular asset. And so as opposed to active, like working or doing something where you have to do something to make money, an investment that makes money overnight through interest or dividends is called passive income.
Good. Thank you. Just want to make sure we have that distinction. So this is the thing, everybody. It's all about your money working for you. if you put your money in a traditional savings account, which is paying maybe 0.2%, that's about on $1,000 is what what is that though? 0.2% on, let's say $10,000, what, about $2? So you know that's why we want to give you other ways and opportunities. And remember, you all, the name of the game is multiple income streams. Making extra money. It can change. It could change your life, and it could change your life in ways of, it can help you pay off your debt. It can help you save for things such as a vacation. It can stop you from living paycheck to paycheck. It can even help you reach retirement sooner. Or it can help you not feel stuck in a job, by just having multiple income streams. And it can help you become more diversified. Now, whether you have just 1 hour a day or you're willing to work 40 extra hours a week on top of your full time, there are many options for you to, when it comes to different ways to earn extra money. But the name of the game is, whether it's active or passive, the name is multiple income streams. That's how a lot of rich people get richer, because they have their money working for them in different ways. And today we're just going to talk about just a few of the things, some things that you can actually do to make extra money. And that's always funny, that the term extra money.
There ain't no money extra, Bob.
I'm telling you. So, Joe, why don't you kick us off with the first thing?
Okay, and the first one is dividends, which we've talked about several times. That's, a company makes money, they get income, and they distribute a portion of their profits back to shareholders in the form of dividends. So you take, for example, I own Pfizer stock, and it hasn't done real well. It's selling for about 24, 25 bucks a share. But what they do, they pay dividends of 7% per year. They pay about $1.70 in dividends. So that's back to that passive income. Because I have money invested in Pfizer, I make 7% on my investment every year. So there's also an opportunity for the stock to grow, which I'm obviously hoping it does. But I'm more than content to make 7%. The fact that it doesn't go up doesn't bother as much as stocks that don't pay a dividend when they don't go up. But you have to own the shares to get dividends. The other thing about dividends is they are treated favorably in the tax code. So ordinary income is taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. Dividends are given a favorable tax rate. That's another reason to be invested in dividends. And so, again, I can never tell you what to invest in because I don't know your personal situation. But for me, a stock like, Pfizer, it's selling right now for about 24 bucks a share. It's a huge, huge pharmaceutical company, and it's already taken a big drop. So the chances of it going down even further are probably small. The chances of it going up are probably good. Obviously, I feel that way. I wouldn't be invested in it. But at the same time, I'm making 7%, so I'm happy. But you can do the analysis, find several stocks that pay good dividends. I know Coke pays a good dividend. A lot of utility companies pay good dividends because they don't have the growth rate that some of the stocks like Microsoft or NVIDIA, which usually they pay very small dividends. Your technical companies or your tech companies or growth companies that are trying to grow real fast are taking all of their profits and investing them back in the business, but some companies give them back in the way of dividends. So that's one way to make some passive income, which I do. I make my 7% on Pfizer, and I'm pretty happy doing that.
And these next items we're talking about is under the passive income banner, how it can ways be working for you. And on the dividend thing, just want to remind people, because stocks, they actually grow in value, equity value, but also they pay dividends. And what people don't realize, we always talk about compound interest, but people be sleeping on compound dividends, where your dividends earns dividend. Your dividends earn on dividends. It's called compound dividends, and that's another sleeper. Just want to tell you about. Though there's another good passive income one, and I'm telling you, this is a good one. It's one of the things that I decided to do. It is create a digital product. What I mean by digital product, one digital product is actually ebook, which I have an ebook out there. You can design an ebook on any topic, and everybody's got a story, but a lot of people can learn from a lot of people's other experiences. Or you got online course, where you can teach, or a downloadable template that somebody can use, like a budgeting template that you create. Once created, it can be sold repeatedly through various digital marketplaces, and you will have control of that. All that money will come back to you. So consider a digital product, especially like an ebook or an online class course.
The next item, and I thought this was a little strange. I'm not sure I could ever do it, but I know a lot of people do. You can rent out a room or you can rent out your property. And I know Airbnbs have gotten really, really big. And, if you're sitting on property and you got extra space, that's a way to make some extra money. Or you can obviously have a vacation home, or you can rent storage space. But it's just a matter of using your property to put some money in your pocket. A lot of risk and responsibilities with that, because you got, even if it's rental property, you got maintenance, repairs, you got to property manage, you got to be willing to get up in the middle of the night and fix a toilet if it's broke. You got cleaning and costs of getting new rentals or new customers and dealing with all that craziness. Sometimes you have to actually furnish it. You got to pay the utilities. And you also got to be aware of what legal issues are involved. Some places restrict whether or not you can do Airbnbs. You got taxes you got to deal with, which Uncle Sam's always going to get his money. And of course, you got homeowners insurance of any property that you own. So it can be very profitable, but you got to do your homework. You got to be willing to take all the stuff that goes on with renting property, both legally and financially. And it's a good way to do it. I know some people who do, and they're pretty happy doing it. And they make a lot of money.
And don't I have a friend, it's just him and his wife, and they live in a row house in Washington, D.C., and they fixed their basement up, which has a separate interest, and they rent out their basement, and it's been paying his rent on his house. I think he got that in that house for about somewhere about $78,000. Now it's worth $1.2 million right there in D.C., Northeast D.C., off the reservoir.
And Bob, that's one of the things I think I would do different if I had to do it all over again. Would have been to buy some rental property when I was young. I wouldn't want to deal with it now just because I don't want no hassle in my life. But
Right.
back when I was young, I wish I had done that. The first place I bought was a townhouse, and had I known then what I know now, when I moved out of that, I would have just rented it out and never would have sold it. But you live and you learn, and that's what we're trying to pass on.
That's what me and Tiffany did though. When we got married and moved into a house, she had her townhouse and we rented it out, and I had my townhouse and we did that for about 10 years. But I'm telling you, that landlord business is no joke. You gotta be,
Was it hard?
yeah, because we kept having bad tenants. It was around the 2008, the economic downturn. So you just by the nature of those times, you were going to get people who had bad credit. You know what I mean? Because people were struggling and losing their homes, and so you had to take your chance with some of these people who had low credit scores because they were the people that were actually renting, and we just kept having bad tenants. I know people that had great tenants though, and they just for 10, 20 years have great tenants. We just kept getting rough tenants, man, and if you get a real good experienced tenant who knows how to bend the rules because they call the inspector on us. The inspector called and say, hey, these people don't have to pay their rent. They can put in escrow until you place the batteries in the fire alarms and replace the screens in the window. I said, wait a minute, all the batteries are in. They took them out and took the screens out and hid them. I'm like, you low down, low. So I learned the keys of the craft, man. But it done right, it's definitely another source of income. And I know a lot of people that pay their mortgages off and have nothing but equity in the house because they had renters. Let me tell you another one though. There's license your photography or art. I know quite a few. I got quite a few friends who are artists, man, and and one of them was on this show. Now, if you're a photographer or illustrator or a digital artist, you can earn passive income by licensing your work through what they call stock content websites. Now, I use stock content a lot of times because I'm always doing seminars, financial seminars, and so I'm always creating flyers and PowerPoint. So I use a lot. I use a lot of stock content, and that's another way that you can, make some money. Because every time someone downloads your image or your design, you earn a royalty. And I think that's a good one. And this is why it works. Like I said, I have a business, and we have a show like this, and we use, we got logos and stuff like that. Marketeers, publishers are always looking for high quality visuals, and once you upload it, your content can earn money for years with no additional work. It's just licensing your work and loading it up. Now, there's some things you need to be cautious of, and it can take time to build a portfolio that generates consistent income. But with everything, it takes some effort, and competition is high because a lot of people, have take this route. But the key is the quality, the originality, and the keyword and tagging when you have the information out there.
Yeah, the next one is starting a blog or a video channel. And if you got a specific passion, a skill, or a story to share, start a blog. It can be fun, and you can make a whole lot of money doing that by building an audience, and you can earn income over time because, that stuff, it never wears out. It never gets old. It lives online indefinitely. So even older posts or videos can continue to make money. And, you build your own personal brand, which can open doors to other opportunities like speaking jobs or other collaborations with other people. Now, it takes a lot of time to do it. And obviously, you got to have something that people want to hear or understand or try to figure out. And but you can make money doing it. You just got to stay with it. And you got to find something that you enjoy. Could be travel, could be tech, could be parenting, personal finance. My best man, his daughter does cooking, and she's done really, really well doing a blog on cooking, and it's all healthy cooking. So, and she's got a big following, and a lot of people follow her, and she makes money through ad and sponsorships and things of that sort. So if you have that specific skill, and that's the key, you have to have that skill. Like Bob could do something like that because he's an entertaining guy. I'm the opposite. I'm more of I'm an accountant. Bob's a financial guy, but he's more of an entertainer than I am. So you make sure you got the skills to do that. Make sure somebody's going to be interested in what you have. And you can have a passion for something, but nobody might not want to hear it. So test it out on your friends and family and see if you have something that they think people might be interested in. And if they do, then go for it.
Though Rodney Madison Sr. said he's in the mortgage note business. He said mortgage note investing provides a great source of passive income without the headaches of being a landlord. You become a lien lord. Now that's an interesting concept.
Sure is.
Where you actually, and I keep saying that we got to have you on, Rodney, to talk about mortgage notes and holding, and basically, though, with mortgage notes, holding mortgage notes are you acting like the bank. You're not having to, keep up the property or do anything like that. All you got to do is you hold the notes, and when people pay, you make money. So that's definitely a passive way to make money. And what Rodney come on and talk more about it to give us more understanding. But if you want to know more about it, go out on the noteexperience.com. That's his site, and you can find more about it. No, I want to talk about another one. This is a good one, man, because I actually thought about this. Actually, I took a name. It's called buy and sell domain names, and you can purchase domain names you believe will be valuable in the future and resell them at a profit. It's almost like they call it digital real estate. Now, somebody did Tom Joyner like that when in the early days when websites were coming out and the internet. Somebody had actually purchased the domain for the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and Tom Joyner had to, cough up the money or come up with a different name for the show. Another person who did it, though, people don't know this, was Pat Riley. He copyrighted the domain name 3P, and he made a lot of money off of that. So domain names is another thing that you can sell and resell, and actually, it's passive income. You just come up with a name, put it out there, and when people go out there and they see it, if it's something that they want, and you don't have to do nothing. It's called domain names.
Okay, now we're going to start talking about some active income. And when we talk about active, that means there's something you have to do to make this money. And the first one is freelance your skills. If you got a specific talent like writing, design, coding, marketing, or any in-demand skill, and I always wish I was had these skills to fix things. I'm terrible when it comes to that, but I know everybody's always looking for somebody like a handyman who can fix things. And so when you freelance, you turn that expertise or special skill you have and the income on your own terms. You pretty much work when you want to. If you don't feel like working, you don't work. If you don't want to work for a certain client, then you don't. And you only choose projects that interest you. And you have flexible hours, you got independence, you have no boss. You pretty much work for yourself. And so tough part with that is you got to figure out what your time is worth. So you got to figure out how much to charge. And that could be difficult, especially if you're not a financial person. But that's when you solicit the advice of a financial person and find out what's a reasonable price to charge for your services, or find someone who's already doing what you're doing and find out the best way to charge. And you could do that as a side hustle, and that could eventually turn into a full-time business. And the tough part is, finding customers, getting started, and getting your name out there to do that. And you'll also have to be your own administrative person by managing your own taxes and the contracts, which you should have a contracts. And so find something that you're good at, that you think people want to pay for, and start a simple online portfolio to showcase your work, or get it spread through friends and go make that money.
And though I don't think people realize, there's so many other ways too, but we're just giving you a few, you all. But all it just takes, because I'm telling you, like the title says, turn your time and talents. And I know a lot of people, though, that are very talented, and it's so much that people have to offer. All it takes is a little effort. For instance, I know people that tutor or teach online. And if you're knowledgeable in a subject or even just passionate about helping others, you can earn by teaching online, from math and science to music to languages or even fitness. I have friends that are personal fitness instructors on their own business, man, they've been making money for years. And there's a demand for all kinds of instructions, and why it works is because you can teach from home with just the webcam or the internet connection, right? And sessions could be one-on-one or they could be group-based. Some platforms handle scheduling and payments for you. Now the things is you got to watch out for. You may need to market yourself or get certified in some of these areas because people like to see with letters behind their name. Like, I've got years of experience in teaching financial education. but both through the federal government and nonprofit. But I went and got certified as a certified financial education instructor because sometimes that designation makes people feel like that you're a little bit more qualified, you know. And it depends on the subject or what you might want to get certified. But building a steady stream of students can take time, but it happens, right? And one of the tips is offer a free trial session or discount your first lesson to attract new customers and to build reviews.
The next one, everybody knows this one's out there. Not everybody's interested in doing it, but you can deliver food or provide rides. Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, Grubhub, so on and so on. If you got a car, bike, or scooter, you can earn extra money by delivering food or driving people. And that can be a very flexible way to make some extra cash, since you can work whenever you feel like it. You don't have to have any special skills. You can work whenever you want. That's great for evenings, weekends, or in between commitments. The thing you got to watch out is you're going to wear your car out a lot faster. Fuel costs, and insurance costs can be high, and the earnings can vary. It's not going to be consistent all the time. But you can work, peak hours, and you also get tips and bonuses. That's another way to make some extra money.
This next one is for my wonderful sister, Nolia, who's on today. And I'm telling you, this girl got more stuff. And it's called Sell Unused Items, right? You got stuff collected dust, turn it into cash by selling it online or locally. From clothes, electronics, to furniture, to collectibles, there's a market for almost everything. If you got stuff out there, and my sister, but the thing about it, she just has this knack of getting the nicest little thing. It could just be little trinkets, though. It could be a cup that is shaped different, and she just has the knack, and it's always interesting. And I'm telling you, Nolia, I'm telling you, you can make a mint just putting this stuff online and selling it. And why it works, because it's fast, simple, and it helps you get rid of a bunch of stuff. It helps you to declutter, and you can often get more than you expect, for gently used items. Talk about unused, but sometimes some of them just could be, like I say, slightly used, with no upfront investment. The only thing is, if you go out and put these things out here, one of the things you need to make sure you do is take clear photos, write honest descriptions to attract buyers, and just bundle some of the items together, like baby gear or books. Believe it or not, bundle them together. They sell faster and they save time.
Well, here's another one that I could never do, and that's pet sit, or walk people's pets or dogs or whatever. Because I'm not really, well, I like animals, but I just, after having 4 kids and changing as many diapers as I changed, I could never have to clean up after a dog. I just refuse to. But for some people who love animals, a lot of people are looking for people to babysit their dogs or walk their dogs, or handle their pets when they go away or go on vacation. And again, you can work when you want to work. And if you like animals, you can get paid to do something you like. You obviously got to be dependable. You got to be comfortable handling different kind of pets. And some pets may have issues. So those are the downsides, but it's another way to make some money.
Especially you pet lovers, like you said, I know a bunch of people that love pets, man. And and if you can make money, I'm talking about, you'd be surprised. I know a woman made some money one time. He used to walk this guy's turtle. Can you believe that? No, and that was a slow way to make money, but no. But look, though, number one is to participate in market research. This is another one that you can do from home. Companies want your opinion, and they're often willing to pay for it. You can earn money by taking surveys, joining focus groups, testing products, or reviewing websites and apps. They're out there, y'all. It's no experience needed. You can do it from your phone or your laptop anytime. And some opportunities pay in cash, others paying gift cards and actually rewards, Now, the things you need to watch out for, not all sites are legitimate, so be sure you stick to well-reviewed platforms. And some surveys pay very little, so focus on high-paying opportunities. But the key is consider creating a separate email if you do this for signups and just check it regularly for new opportunities. I'm telling you, I know people that do this, and they've made some money off of just participating in market research.
Yeah, and the next one is really is because this is kind of a wrap up. And the thing you got to watch if you do something on your own is you have to pay Uncle Sam. You got to be aware of taxes, and obviously making extra money can help you meet your goals, but it may bring a new problem. And so you got to make sure you stay on top of the tax situation. And that's federal, state, and local. And, you got to be aware it may kick you into a little higher tax bracket. So you got to be aware of that. If you're on Social Security and you haven't reached full retirement age, you got to be aware that it doesn't kick you to the point where you have to start giving your Social Security money back. And so you have to understand the impact it's going to have on your taxes. And this other thing you can do to reduce your taxes, obviously, is tax advantage accounts, IRAs, health savings accounts, and things like that, which we've talked about before. But if you make extra money, you got to understand the impact it's going to have on your tax life. And you don't want to wait till the end of the year to find that out. You want to know that when you start, so you can start either paying estimated taxes because you don't have anybody to withhold because you're the boss. So you'll have to figure out how to get that money to Uncle Sam so you aren't sitting at the end of the year paying penalties or paying underpayment taxes.
Wow, that's true talk, though. So and if y'all have some other ways, put them in the comment box of making extra income, because the name of the game is to have as many income streams that you can, because that's how a lot of people became wealthy. Nothing like passive income, because that way you making money while you sleep. But there's active income where you have to put some work into it. But to me, though, some of the best income is passive income, where you have it working for you. And so we hope those were helpful. And we'd just like to give you a recap of a summary and takeaway of, because we said a lot of items, though. So I'll start it off. Let me make sure I got it here. Where it is. Yes. All right. Let me get it started. Let me start it off, though. Like I said, develop multiple income streams. That is the key, so that you can have it coming in from all sources, and you'd be surprised how it can add up. It's not the big ones. It ain't the $500,000. It's making a couple of hundred here and there every month. It will add up.
The next one is, market your talent. If you have a specific talent, people always have told you you're good at something, market it and try to make some money off of it. I mean, it's a shame to waste, and it can be a blessing for you to utilize your talents, and it can be a blessing for somebody else to make use of your talents.
Next one is, your experience has value. Do not undervalue your talents, you all. I'm telling you, there's so much that you can offer people and can make money from. And we talked about some of those things today. So put your experience at work. You can make money. We ain't talking about pimping yourself, but we just talking about, why not utilize? And you'd be surprised. This is the thing I found out, though. A lot of people, you may not think you have that much talent, but you really do. And the key is just to look out there and see what a need is, what is needed, and fill that need.
And last but not least, and I've said this a few minutes ago, be aware of the tax situation. And that kind of goes into just staying on top of your financial situation, which we always talk about. You got to be on top of your financial situation. And tax is one that can come back and bite you. And it can be a very, very vicious bite if you get crossways with Uncle Sam. So Stay on top of all your finances, but if you start something extra, be aware of the tax implications of that.
Yes, and with that, we went through a lot, and for some of y'all people who come in late or have other people, please go out there. These shows stay out there for 30 days, so you can go out there and get more information. Okay, yeah. Oh, Teresa Doty. Teresa. Oh, Teresa. What's up, Teresa? Teresa said she'd like to know more, Rodney. Tell me more. Yeah, go out there on the noteexperience.com. It's very interesting.
We gotta have. You keep saying we're gonna have him on. When are you gonna do that?
Yeah, we're gonna do that soon, before the summer's out, and we're gonna have a couple of other guests come on too. And now said tutoring kids in reading and math. Yes, and a lot of kids need that. There seems like there's always opportunity for that. Especially,
and that's a funny one, Bob. Back when we first started tutoring, my oldest son, and my initial thought of tutoring was that that's for kids who aren't really smart or something. But we found out when my son started getting tutored in math, I can't remember what grade it might have been 5th or 6th, but we found out that all the kids who are in the gifted program were getting tutored by the same lady that my son was going to. And so that became automatic for all my kids. Like if he was, let's say he's in the 5th grade, that means Taria was she was 3 years behind, so she would have been in 2nd grade, and Taylor hadn't started yet. So Taylor and Tori got tutored for 12 years in math by the same lady, and TJ and Taria got tutored by that same lady for a little less time because they started later. But all my kids did really, really well in math, and it was money well spent. It gave them confidence in math, and it's like TJ ended up being an engineer, and Tori an accountant, and Taylor a business major, and Taria's in communications. But they all know and understand math because they all got tutored, and that's one that we as we kind of shy away from, but kids need to.
Yes.
Extra help doesn't hurt nothing. Trust me.
I know, especially now with all this testing and stuff, it definitely helps. But that's our show today. We're talking about time. Your time, and the biggest difference between money and time. You always know how much money you have, but you never know how much time you have. But that's not the quote of the day, though, by the way.
Oh, it's not?
No, I know that was a question, rhetorical question. But this is the quote of the day. Big Bob's quote of the day. No, there are 2 ways to be rich. One is having what you want, and the other is being satisfied with what you have.
Okay, I got that.
You picking up. You getting a lot faster these days.
I know. You maybe you bringing it down to my level.
Hey, I don't mean to dummy it down, but thank you everybody for tuning in. Now, Dodie, thank you as always for tuning in. My sister Nolia, my sister Linda. I don't see my sister Gloria on here. In the past, last week she told me she fell asleep, so maybe she slept to sleep. But thank you, Nolia. And thank you, Linda. Teresa Doty Johnson. Where's
she's Teresa? She's the one that has her own business. She took her love of animals and started a doggy daycare, and she's getting ready to open her 2nd location. She's and she just had twins last November, so she's pretty busy. But she's an example of somebody who took something she enjoyed and got a business plan together and started a business, and it's expanding.
Oh, you lost me there. When you say she had twins, she have twin
kids.
Animals or actually? No.
Twin kids.
Oh, I thought you
were very busy.
I thought you were talking about pets. And let me say hello out there to Rodney L. Madison Senior. Rodney, I'm telling you, this summer we're going to have you on to talk about mortgage notes. Joanne Skinner, what's up, Joanne Skinner? You always a winner. And my good brother, Carl Chapman. Carl Chapman is an ex-fireman. I think you was as high as a lieutenant, weren't you, Carl? Yeah, I think I got that right. You retired. You should be doing pretty good, man. As a fireman, you put your time in. And how about Deborah Doty? What's up, Deborah?
DD, that's Teresa's mom.
DD. Look, y'all representing, the Doties are representing up in this camp tonight, man. So we'd just like to thank everybody for being on. We're here next week, same bat channel. It'll be our 203rd show. We've been going since 2021, you all, and we plan to continue from now and beyond. So thanks, Linda. Thank you. So look, we see you next week, same place, same channel. And make sure y'all go out and share this on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of the week. Before I go, though, I got to tell everybody who's on. July the 6th, our band, I'm Not Your Daddy's band, will be performing at Allen Pond in Bowie, Maryland on July the 6th at 6 p.m. Yes, I'm in a band, and we got a 10-piece band, and we're doing Kid Creole and the Coconuts. July the 6th at 6 o'clock at Allen Pond. All you local people. And if you're out of town, come on in town and check us out because we're going to be cranking.